Oh man, so if you like Polkadot, you've come to the right video, because in this video we're going to share with you some of the best projects on Polkadot right now. I'm going to share with you why these need to be on your radar, whether you invest in them or back them in that ecosystem, or whether it just helps you build your conviction in DOT. You need to know about these 5 projects. So stay tuned for this video. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because we're going to go into quite some depth here. I've done my research here. I'm going to show you some of these top projects. Now, let's just take a step back. Now, over the last few days, as I've been reflecting, I've been, sending you guys messages, regardless of where I've been traveling around, mentioning that we need to head over to our high conviction plays. In times of uncertainty, we really need to, think of it like an army. You need to retreat and really build your basis and build your conviction in your favorite projects. Sometimes in a bull market, when everything is going great and YouTubers are spreading all these messages, everything's looking great, any coin they mention can go up, right? And often what happens, myself included, you can end up in a bull market having coins which you don't have enough conviction in. They just end up joining part of your portfolio in the party, and we didn't really need them. So it's important that, one, you get rid of those, but two, for certain other ones, you really delve in and build your conviction. And that's what I've been trying to do in the last few episodes. We've done that with Algorand. We spent some time looking at Luna as well. Today, we're going to spend some more time on Polkadot. If you've not watched my video about Polkadot and Parachains Explained, go check that out. I've given price targets as well in those videos. But in this video, I want to focus on the ecosystem. I want to focus on amazing projects in the Polkadot space, which you need to be aware of. And I've got a good few here listed with you. Let's share my screen, because first, what I want to do is I want you guys to understand the basis of how the platform works, right? So you've got Polkadot here on the left-hand side, which is interoperable blockchains, right? So think of each of these bits here as separate blockchains. Now, Polkadot has built a system whereby each of these separate blockchains, which they call parachains, they can get listed on the main chain, and therefore they can have a whole bunch of interoperable features. Think of it that way. Now, what you're seeing on the right-hand side is their canary network, okay? It's their sister chain or cousin chain called Kasama. And that is where projects can launch to test, make sure they flattened out any bugs or issues before then listing on Polkadot. Now, in order for one of these little parachains to get approved onto Polkadot, they have to go through and win an auction. And Polkadot has been carrying out all their auctions. You can go onto their website and you can see they've got the full schedule of when each of their auctions are going through. And we can see the batch 1 has now come to an end. They had 1 winner, 2 winners, 3 winners, 4 winners, 5 winners, and the 5th winner has just been announced on December the 16th. So we've had that. I'll mention who they are in this video on if you don't know it already, and we'll go into some detail on it. But the key thing is all of these platforms get onboarded on the same date. So it doesn't matter which one won. They all get onboarded on December the 17th. And they have their, I believe it's 96 weeks. Yep, 96 weeks, then slot duration before they then have to rebid to keep their slot on the network. So I hope that gives you a very brief explanation. If you want a more detailed one, head over to my specific video explaining that, but I don't want to spend all my time doing that. But before we get into the 5 projects, guys, let's look at DOT. Let's look at the charts and see what is going on, because we can see here, and I'm just on the daily right now, we were heading from our cup and handle pattern well on our way to our target before Polkadot just started bleeding. And we've had 55, 56% down on Polkadot, which has got some people wondering, what is going on? Why is Polkadot going down so much? Is there something fundamentally flawed? And have we made a mistake, right? That always happens because people have green candle disease. And whenever they see red candles, they think, oh, there must be something wrong. Not necessarily the case. And the only way you're going to understand that that's not the case is by researching and looking at the facts. And hopefully what I share with you today helps you in that, because the progression made on Polkadot this year has been phenomenal. And in fact, I want to do one more thing here. I want to zoom all the way out. In fact, let's do this on the weekly. It'll be a little bit easier. I'm going to head over into the weekly chart, and you can see, look at this candle here, 21st of December. On 21st of December, Polkadot was trading at $4.50. We have 5x, that's 500% in just under a year, okay? We're sitting here on the 19th of December at the time recording, here on the 21st December, $4.50. Okay, that's more than a 5x. So people who are worried about this 50% retracement, those are people who FOMO'd in, right? Same old story. FOMOing in on the pump leg, not doing anything on the retracement, not buying on the retracement, not buying on the retracement, not financial advice, right? And that is the key. That's what we want to get around. And we need to understand, yes, this is a big retracement. 50% is a big retracement, but this is crypto. We've seen that with Ethereum. We've seen it with Bitcoin. Why do people act surprised? Why do people continue to squander opportunities is beyond me, right? So that's what's happening with Polkadot. Let's look at the first project, which you guys need to be aware of. And it's probably the one that most of people have heard of because they won the very first auction, and that is Akala. Akala Network is a layer one. Okay, it's a layer one, it's a smart contract platform. They won the first auction with $1.3 billion staked in DOT, guys. This is huge. For one project on the Polkadot network to have staked $1.3 billion, again, to put that into perspective, something like Phantom, a layer one system, has $4 billion in total value locked across everything, right? So for people to stake $1.3 billion in DOT for Akala to win their auction slot just goes to show how much attention is going behind these projects. And if these projects do well, if these blockchains, these parachains do well on the ecosystem, then Polkadot will naturally do well. So this is a really exciting sign. And we know that Akala does swapping, borrowing, lending. They have their own DEX. We know that you have to stake the DOT to get LC DOT. We can go into all the details here. And there's also obviously the AUSD stablecoin as well. But the most important thing, which people want to be looking at really, is the fact that you have really micro gas fees. Remember, all of these, and in this list of some of these projects I'm going to be sharing with you, you will see quite a few layer one smart contract platforms, because the very first auction slot on Polkadot, you need to get DeFi across, right? So a lot of the leading platforms right now are DeFi. If you look at how Ethereum started, it was a lot of DeFi platforms which won first, and then you start to get some gaming, some NFTs once your blockchain has matured. So that's what we're seeing right now. We can see Akala has really low gas fees to counteract the struggling times and almost unusable Ethereum network at times, but also you can pay your gas fees in any token. I think this is a really novel and creative way to make things more seamless, to improve the user experience. You guys know me, I'm all about user experience. If you can reduce that friction between people you want to use your smart contract platform and how they use it on a day-to-day basis, you're going to get more mass adoption, right? Right now, it's still super, whether we believe it or not, it's still difficult to use Ethereum. I mean, looking at your GUI, going to the gas station to see how much you're going to pay, find the cheap time, when the gas is a little bit low, very prohibitive to use, right? So hopefully things like this will bring more people to the crypto space and using DeFi. Very interesting. Akala, number one, if you haven't looked at Akala, get looking at it, understand what it does, and keep it on your radar. The next one now was the third winner. They won the third slot on this batch of parachains, and that is Astar Network. Okay, now Astar Network is a multi-chain Polkadot dApp hub. So they're focused on promoting dApp development. Now let's take a step back here. You remember when I mentioned, when I'm talking about Luna, when I'm talking about Cardano, when I'm talking about Phantom, what do I always say? I always say that the winning platform blockchain, high transaction per second, high throughput, good finality, good security, good scalability. iPhone, if nobody comes and builds apps, the iPhone is rendered useless, right? Same for Android. And dApps. And that is what Astar is trying to do. They're trying to attract the best people to come and build on Polkadot on their platform, which is Astar. And the way they're doing that is they're directly incentivizing these developers. They're saying we'll give you 40% of each of the block rewards if you build on our platform. So that's really clever to do. You can see that not only are they support Ethereum and the WebAssembly and layer 2 solutions, so it's a super good project. You can see they've got a lot of block drops, community members 30,000 plus, ecosystem, and it's just a great concept to incentivize the dApp builders, because this is great for not just Astar, but it's great for Polkadot, and it's great for the crypto space overall, because it's all about attracting the best developers. Speaking of which, we have another smart contract platform, which I guarantee a lot of you guys know about, and that is Moonbeam. And Moonbeam placed second in the first, they came second in the parachain, so they won the second slot right after Akala. But ironically, well, not ironically, but interestingly, they actually had more dot locked, 1.36 billion roughly of dot locked. So they actually beat Akala. And the reason Akala won is because there's this candle auction, which is based on the time, the duration. It's quite a clever system, actually, that Gavin Wood and the team came up with. It's the time at which you hold first position. So Akala was in Anyway, all of these go live on December the 17th. So it doesn't matter whether you're 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. As long as you're in the first batch, all of these are going to go straight ahead on December the 17th. And again, it's another smart contract platform. But the benefit here is similar to Astar. You can port across anyone who's built. Again, let's take a step back. You've got Ethereum, right? Ethereum was the beginner. It was the first. It was the trendsetter. And a whole bunch of really talented dApp developers went over to Ethereum, learned Solidity, the programming language, and they went ahead and built their smart contracts, their dApps, right? And as Ethereum got more and more popular, we saw the congestion, we saw gas fees come up, and ultimately this is having a direct impact on some of these dApp developers. They want to be on these new layer one platforms. They want to think about, how do we get to Phantom? How do we get to Luna? How do we get to Solana? How do we get to Polkadot, right? And through this platform such as Moonbeam and also Astar, which we've just covered across, they can port across Solidity-based dApps really quickly. So you just use a bridge and you don't have to redo all your work. So if you imagine, you could create, similar to how you can do with iOS apps, right? You can take a piece of code and you can run your iOS app through it, and then you've got an Android app on the other side of it. And that is perfect. It saves a whole bunch of effort, and it means we can get a lot of our favorite Ethereum apps ported quickly over through Moonbeam or Astar straight onto the Polkadot network, and we can start using it with low gas fees. And that is the key. Higher transaction throughput, less congestion on the network, and off we can go, right? So really interesting to do. Ironically, Moonbeam is a little bit better than Astar in terms of porting across. It's a little bit easier, but it's not as technologically advanced, some would say, in terms of some of their integrations. That'd be interesting. The Moonbeam also has compatibilities directly with a lot of coins across, as long as they're ERC20, which is really clever. And their money where their mouth is behind this project, and this is definitely one you want to keep an eye on. Now, just as project as well, right? Their test project. So with Ikala, which we were looking at first, their test project was called Karura, and Karura was doing really well. They had 400 million TVL locked on the Kusama network before they went and started building Ikala for the Polkadot network. Same with Astar. They had something called Shiden, however you want to pronounce it, on the Kusama network. With Moonbeam, you have Moon River on the Kusama network. So again, if you want to invest in a little bit of Polkadot and Kusama network, you can go ahead and do that as well. Because there's no reason to say, even though most people believe the Polkadot projects will have more notoriety and grow faster than the Kusama ones, there's no reason the Kusama ones are not investment grade worthy as well. So keep an eye on that as well. Okay, now let's mix this up a little bit. So I mentioned a few smart contract platforms. Good set of their winners from the first batch are uses a really interesting project. Now they've got a platform called Tin Lake. To do is tokenize your real world assets. So you may have some assets, you may have some goods, you may have a car, you may have some mortgages, you may have some invoices that are due to you, which are assets to you, right? Now what you can do is you can tokenize those assets as NFTs, and then you can put them into Tin Lake and you can monetize them, right? You can use them as collateral to borrow from. And that's a really interesting use case from, again, the normal non-decentralized finance to now decentralized finance, right? So you can see this being a really clever use case for people to raise funds. When they want to raise funds, they can take their goods and services, throw it into Tin Lake as an NFT, and then people can borrow it for the yield ahead. And already you can see they've got 48 million in total value locked, and it's a clever little project. And again, it just helps me build the conviction, not necessarily that I'm going to directly go and invest in Centrifuge. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. That's the research we have to do. But it helps you build conviction that there are really smart use cases, really clever things happening behind the scenes, that sometimes we don't need to just sit here and look at the candles. Oh, why is it not going up? Why is it not going up? Things are happening, guys. People are building great projects. And so if you just increase your investment horizon and just zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this is crazy stuff going on. And this is what should give you conviction in some of your favorite projects. Right, moving on now. The next one I'm going to share with you was the fourth winner of the Parachain slot, and that is Paran. since November the 2nd, guys. So it's not of value locked. And you can see things like Phantom is at a 4.5, right? Carver, which we know about, is sitting at less than 600 million. Harmony One, 520 million. So this is not a joke of a project. And again, by the amount of money they had backing them in the Polkadot staking process for the auction, it's not a project to be messed with. Moving on, we also have Clover Finance, another DeFi platform. And oh, sorry, just on Parallel Finance, by the way, don't forget, let's look at, they have some serious backers. The likes of Sequoia Capital, Pantera, Lightspeed, Alameda, Polychain Research. There is serious institutional money behind these projects. Why? Because they know the problem they're trying to tackle. They understand these are the use cases that are going to grow. And they're not looking at the charts and, oh, you know, there's a slight retracement here. They just see that as a discount because this is seriously disruptive stuff, guys. And anybody who doesn't understand this are probably in crypto for the wrong reasons, okay? And that's why this is really important. And by the way, guys, I'm halfway through now. And if you appreciate this type of content, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe because I'm really, done my research here to show you how to build conviction in projects. This is what I do. Anytime I doubt on my projects, I really unravel the project and try to understand what is going on. And hopefully this gives you a better insight into what is happening with Polkadot and right. And again, another foundational layer for people want. They want EVM capability. They want, right? This is what they want. They want a better user experience. They want cross-chain interactions. These have become the common trends. And you're seeing the platforms which are winning these auctions are these types of platforms. Now, I don't want to stop there. We've covered off the 5 that won the Parachain slots, but there are 2 more gems which I want to share with you. And the first one being Affinity. Now, anybody who knows Engine were around for years. They survived bull and bear markets, and they're a great gaming tokenized platform, right? But now they've pivoted with Affinity, which they want to launch on the Polkadot network as a play in the decentralized metaverse and NFT space. So this could seriously be a great project. Definitely one I want to keep on my radar, and I think you should be doing too. And perhaps we can cover it in more detail on another video. But I just wanted to make sure this was on your list to do some research on too. And then finally, the other one I wanted to share with you, again, they didn't win one of the Polkchain slot, the auction slots just yet. But we got to keep this on our roadmap because it gives you another idea of the use cases, right? So we've spoken about smart contract platforms. We've looked at DeFi. We know there's going to be DEXs. We know there's more financing platforms. We know there's NFTs and metaverse through Affinity. And this one, Manta, is a privacy coin, right? So think of Monero on the Ethereum network. This is also going to help you do that, okay? So this is another clever platform, interoperable privacy layer for the Polkadot ecosystem. And any ecosystem needs that type of Monero coin because if you want true decentralization, you need something like this, right? Which gives you that end-to-end privacy, and it's cleverly done. And you can see just through their, the coverage they've had, this is a serious project. You can look at the investors. Again, multi-coin, polychain. You've got Alameda, which is Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX. So these are some serious funds backing this, and this is something, again, we need to keep on our radar. So there you have it, guys. There is your update on the Polkadot ecosystem. Some amazing projects we've covered off just there. You've got Akala, you've got Moonbeam. Don't forget the Kusama network side of things as well in terms of Moon River. Really great projects. And hopefully, look, there's 2 ways to now take that data and kind of operate on it. One thing is, look, you can try to find out ways to invest in them and back those projects. For some of those, they may run for future auction slots, in which case you can stake DOT and back them in their campaigns. For those that already won auction slots, you want to wait till they go live and embedded and perhaps pick up some of their coins. I know some of them are already available, such as Moonbeam, Moon River. You can start making investments on some of these already, but for others, you have to wait to see how you can invest in those. But more importantly, and what I wanted to get across is for those DOT holders who are in the DOT space, hopefully that should give you some confidence. Hopefully that should give you some conviction into why this is such a great platform, into why is it that I'll come and make a video and look at the technical analysis of DOT. It's not because necessarily I think it's got an inverse head and shoulders pattern and there's 10% to make. You guys know the majority of my investments are long-term high conviction plays. And if you haven't watched my altcoin video, go and check out my altcoin video. I talk about the likes of Chainlink, Matic, DOT being core component part. These are large cap plays which need to form part of a diversified portfolio. And anytime the market retraces, like we saw on the chart, we just need to have that conviction to take a moment, just relax, build our conviction, understand what is going on, and then let things play out as they will, right? So hopefully that will help you have that perspective. For me, I'm looking at the chart and saying 50% retracement. Love that. I saw a lot of people FOMOing in when the parachains were complete and it was finalized that these were the dates of the parachains. Loads of FOMOing in, spiking of the price. I'm not buying in that period. I'm letting it ride. But I knew there was an inevitable retracement. And so these retracements, if we can just learn to hold, not panic. If you haven't got any cash, just don't panic and don't sell. If you've got some, try to dollar cost average in, and when you become more advanced, try to learn how to anticipate when we're going to get retracements, such that you can start keeping cash to the side, taking some profits on some of your other winners, and then learning how to DCA in on some of these retracements. Hope you guys found that useful. I've blabbered on for 20 minutes. If you found it cost you a penny, meet like-minded people, share charts, share patterns, tag no lying. I'll tell you what I see in the charts. I tell you what I see in these projects. If I've done some research, I'm